Yo, what's happening, people? And welcome back to the Tiki Taka podcast. We're going to hear hot takes, unbiased opinions, and hopefully have a couple laughs along the way. Now, it's been a while since you've seen us. Last time you saw us, Max Dowman had just dropped a moment of history against Everton, and we came on the pod and spirits were high. You probably thought you weren't going to see us again with the way things are going. And to be fair, this might be the last season you see us because we'll have to go into talks and decide if we can be re-energized for next year. But look, when we left last time you saw us, we potentially could have won 4 trophies. Obviously, talk of the quadruple or whatever. I don't think any Arsenal fan really believed that was going to happen, but obviously we were in contention for 4 trophies. We then lost the cup final. And just to explain, as much as like we've been busy, we have tried to get pods out.
Yeah. Scheduling's been a nightmare.
I was at the cup final. I was at Wembley. We were planning to pod the day after. Then I got ill. Then after
I was away for some time.
Yeah, but
and then I came back
and I was ill again.
Was ill.
After Southampton. And they think I'm taking the piss, but I genuinely like I had a lot to say after that cup final. Michael will tell you how vexed I was about the Kepa decision. I would have quite liked to have come and done the pod, but obviously couldn't happen. So Carabao Cup final out of the way. We can't win that because we lost in the final. We've come back after 2-week international break. Come back after the 2-week international break.
Southampton
lose to Southampton because Arteta's taking a piss with the team sheet. At the FA Cup in the quarter-final, 1 game away from another chance of going back to Wembley, giving the fans another chance to go back to Wembley. Nope.
Actually beat Sporting.
Yeah.
Our last win.
1-0.
In on 6 games.
Yeah. I mean, we domestically...
Our only win, I should say.
Domestically, our last win was Everton.
Yeah.
When we podded. Went and beat Sporting in what wasn't a great game, but Kai Havertz at the end. Then the huge one, we lost to Bournemouth at home. Me and Michael went to the game together. We were both there. 12:30, absolutely ruined the Saturday, ruined the weekend. Yeah. And from that point, a lot of feelings of writings on the wall. Go to the Sporting game. Again, I was at the Sporting game, bro.
I said it coming down the stairs.
Yeah.
Bournemouth.
0-0.
I said it was going to be 0-0.
Yeah.
Into the Sporting game.
And look, it's not like that was ridiculous.
Yeah. It was
but I don't know. I just
poor odds.
It annoys me that I've turned up to see my team in the Champions League quarterfinal at home.
Yeah,
and we can't score a goal. Like, I know we've gone through, but I'm like, please give us something to cheer. Give us we don't come to football to see. I mean, maybe from August to November, I was going to see amazing defensive.
Yeah.
But enough's enough now. We had a conversation about Ballon d'Or and whatever in the pub and box office players. That's why you go to football. But yeah, we didn't score.
They've been out there.
Yeah,
they've been out there. The box office players.
Just
not here.
Exactly. So yeah, and then after Sporting, we did get to the semi-final. So big up for that. And then after Sporting, we played Man City. Weekend just gone, and we obviously lost that game. Huge game in the title race. Probably we'll get into it, but probably the game that has decided it. Now, the reason I've just gone through all of that and reminded everyone of what's happened is because, as you can tell from the title of this episode, I haven't even told Michael what I'm talking about, but it's Arsenal crisis meeting.
I saw an Arsenal 100%.
Yep. We're not talking about anything else.
I saw an Arsenal.
Tottenham are going down. Man United are playing Champions League. Chelsea are not playing Champions League. All of that stuff. We're not talking about any of that this week because it's an Arsenal crisis meeting. And yeah, we might want to draw back to some of those things like the FA Cup exit, like the Carabao Cup final during this discussion. So look, I don't really have a plan. Usually I have a structure of how we're going to go through things and talk about things. I think on this one, we probably let's just have a conversation and see where we go.
I was going to say, I'll start
with the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll start by saying that the Man City performance was I don't know, was kind of good to watch.
Well, how are you feeling before it? Post Bournemouth.
So I've actually got my ebbs and flow charts. Like post Bournemouth was really dark. Yeah. Because even a draw in that game would have made a massive difference to how I'm feeling right now, to where we are, all of that kind of stuff. But the Bournemouth loss was for me really bad because and my biggest takeaway from the Bournemouth game, I still feel like that now, is we're actually not a well coached team. Like that was my biggest takeaway from the Bournemouth game was Bournemouth have a plan here of how to move it about, how to get forward, who the danger men are, who's going to keep it, all this kind of stuff, yeah. And we spent 50, 60 minutes of that game like without really much of a plan, going long, hoping for a second ball to break, all of this kind of stuff. So coming into the City match, I was expecting more of the same because much didn't change. Yeah, Sporting 0-0. So I was expecting more of the same, just to be shown absolute levels of superior sort of technical quality by Bernardo Silva and those kind of guys. And they did do that, but there was some fight, there was some grit, there was some chance creation, there was
I don't know if they did, show superior levels of
maybe not superior levels, but
not like the cup final.
Not like the
that
cup
was
final. No, no, no.
levels.
But I do feel even in this game that there was times where it was like, all right, we've lost it there, so it's going to be about 5 minutes before we get the ball back. And that's almost every City performance.
Yeah,
yeah. But
it's like when we had the ball in the cup final, it was like, but they're gonna have it in the next 20 seconds.
yeah. No, it wasn't that
yeah.
bad. It wasn't that bad, but I do just remember this like. I still feel this, and it's almost every time we play City. It's like we're not careful enough with the ball, and we get it back after a 5 minute spell where they've had it, and we play 2-3 passes, and then someone's in a blind alley and they lose it, and then I'm like, oh well, it's gonna be a couple minutes before we get this back again. Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, a lot of what we're saying about us being able to somewhat keep the ball was actually, like you say, blind alleys, but this time the ball's going to have us.
Yeah. And he's doing a little something more with it, but I wasn't expecting much really coming into the Man City game. So the performance did impress me is a strong word, but like it was a surprise to me. I was encouraged to some extent by the performance, by some of the determination, but it also makes it equally as frustrating and equally as annoying because honestly, if you put in that type of performance against the Bournemouths and the Wolves and the Brentfords,
the cup final,
the cup final, and all this kind of stuff, then we wouldn't be in this position where we are right now. So it's annoying it's good to see that the team does have this fight and determination in them, but it's annoying to see once again that it's coming at a time when it's sort of too little, too late. Literally, as I said, if we played that exact sort of game in terms of intention versus Bournemouth, we wouldn't have lost versus Bournemouth. Yeah. So that's where I really struggle with this Arsenal team, where it's like, and it's becoming the pattern of the pressure becomes too much. We play really bad football when the pressure is high. We crumble, we fumble, and then when the pressure is taken off, and these aren't necessarily games that we need to like win, is when guys want to start saying, "Oh, but actually, I am a footballer and I can do this and I can do that."
But we can't say that about yesterday's game. It was probably the most pressure game these Arsenal players have ever played.
Yeah.
Because I agree with Gary Neville was saying it. If we'd won that game, we would have won the league.
Yeah, no.
So it's 90 minutes out there to win the league. I don't think it probably gets more pressure than that.
But I don't think the fight for me was like, if we put in a good performance and it was better than what we've been doing, but the bar was so low. Like the bar was so low because I remember we were saying after Bournemouth, that this is the worst it's ever been in terms of just performances from an Arsenal team. Like we're just going into games, wasting 70 minutes with the ball in the air like it's rugby.
Agreed.
Trying to get territory.
But even so, like the bar can only be so low against a Man City team that's probably going to go on and win the league. Like, to have performed how we performed in that game, and again, it's wrong to say, like, I agree with you. We can't really say I was impressed by it or whatever, but
I've just been there before. I think that's what really kills me.
Agreed, but Man City are clearly a very good team, and Arsenal matched them. Better team, yeah. Yesterday proved that they're the better team, but Arsenal matched them in the game yesterday. And the difference really was that Man City's forward players took their chances, and that comes to them being a better team.
I agree. I don't disagree with everything that you're saying. It's just sort of rinse and repeat for the last sort of 4 or 5 years where we've put in some valiant performances against the City team that is better than us. and almost been toe to toe with them, but never actually been better than them. And the quality shows, whether it's Haaland, De Bruyne,
Yeah.
or Bernardo Silva, whoever it is. So I don't disagree with what you're saying. The boys did try hard. It was a pressure game. They did show some minerals and some metal, but we come out with nothing yet again, and it's one of those ones where I'm actually quite thankful that we didn't have a red card and a penalty. That's normally what we
Yeah,
cling.
yeah,
Those
yeah,
that's
yeah,
normally what
which
we yeah, and that's
yeah,
normally what we cling onto in those games. Was if it wasn't for that red card, or if it
yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
for
for
that
the penalty.
penalty,
Yeah.
then we would be right there with this Man
Yeah,
City
yeah.
team. And it's for me, it's just too little, too late, because I'm right back here again where I've been for the past sort of
Yeah,
4 or 5 seasons, where it's like I have to accept the consolation of a good performance
Yeah.
in another
It's
Man City
frustrating
loss.
because we can't talk about this Arsenal performance and them playing well in this game because they've already fucked it up. Yeah, to the point where, and we can't say that there were. I'm not saying that there were minerals on show or anything, because minerals on show would have been
3
winning.
points.
Yeah, but just from a point of view of like from the Carabao Cup final and the performance in that, the performance at Bournemouth and the performance in this game, the team out there in the City game looked a lot more like a team that could win the league than the cup final or the Bournemouth game, or not that it matters.
Yeah.
But and look, we can move away from the game. One of my issues with the game, and I said this from the start of the week, is that I'm not really looking at Arteta for this Man City game. Outside of the lineup, and even the lineup, like even then, I'm not really looking at him too much, because at this point, it's just on the players to turn up and go out there and put the performance in to go and win at the Etihad. This group of players have been together long enough, right? They've had this opportunity at the Etihad 3 times now. The first season when we got slapped 4-1, the second season when we drew 0-0, and this season when we've lost 2-1. So 3 times they've had the opportunity late on in the season to go and make a statement at the Etihad, and 3 times they've failed. Yes, Arteta's been the manager on each and every time, but he can't go out there and do what the players actually have to do on the pitch. I think the first goal is a moment of quality from Turkey. It's difficult to say. You could describe it as unstoppable, but I think Gabriel Saliba and Declan Rice, I mean, if you're going to win the league, I think one of you makes a challenge there.
Yeah.
I think if that was Sol Campbell, Martin Keown, and Patrick Vieira, Turkey wouldn't have got the shot.
I can actually take it. Like I agree that I think it's
and that's part of it. That's like the players on the pitch. I just don't think, and these are some of our favorite players, some of our best players, just don't seem to have it.
no. Look, I don't know. Like I agree that there's mistakes in there from Gabriel Saliba and Rice, but I can actually take that first goal from Turkey because I do think it is quality. The annoying thing is it's come not against the run of play, but like we had some bright spells. It didn't really feel like it was a moment in the game where City were like destined to score.
Yeah.
But Turkey's he's turned on the quality. He's got the goal. I can somewhat live with it, but for me, that's where the sort of levels comes in. The technical levels comes in, where it's like we don't really have anybody on our team that's capable of doing that.
But Eze, he's
Eze,
the post
and
Eze's
come close. Eze has come close, but I mean that's really the difference. Is he hasn't beat 2 or 3 guys and put it in the bottom corner. He's come close.
But we're talking about moments of quality. Like if
for real,
he's that close.
But and we've been there before. Where we're saying,
exactly, those are the fine.
But guys that close.
But for me, it wasn't so much of like we didn't have that. City had that. And
I think for me, it was we didn't have that. Like, because if we had that, it's a different game. You know, if we did have that, it's a different game.
But I don't know if it's as black and white as that. I feel like there is a chance is on another day that falls in.
And my thing is,
on another day the Turkey one hits the post.
No, but I'm done looking at these. I'm not looking at the City game in isolation, because it's been years now. It's been years now of not having the quality in both boxes. Yeah. Like Eze's come close. It was a great shot, man. And any other day that does go in. Yeah, we've seen that go in before against Tottenham and all these other teams. But for Arsenal to really win these big games, which the City game was, it can't be on some nearlies. It can't be on some on another day, because we've rarely had those days when it matters. We've rarely had the quality moments when this matters. And Eze was the closest. He was the brightest of sparks. But the reason, as I say, I'm not too on to Gabriel. I'm not too on to Rice. I'm not too on to Saliba or even Raya, because I'm just saying that that's just quality from Turkey. He has that. He's shown that he's got it over the line. It's in the back of the net. And if we're going to want to beat Man City, we're going to need that. We're going to need something of that. Not something close to that. Not something that's whiskers. We're going to need that to hit the back of the net. No excuses.
Yeah.
And it's been too many years now where we just haven't had that, or not had the right pieces available at the right, whatever the excuses. So I struggle to look at this game in isolation, because it's just such a synopsis for me of what's really been going on for the past couple of years, of being really close, valiant effort. You can leave with your head held high, but you can't leave with anything tangible, because you haven't actually been good enough.
Yeah. And look, I think the Turkey one is, we can describe it as a moment of quality, but I still believe that the Arsenal players can do
I hear
more
that. Like, I'm not mad at that.
to stop that goal. He's danced through three 6'4" players, and none of them have been able to stop him or shoulder barge him or do anything. And I think the second goal, I think Gabriel's too involved in having a fight with Haaland, and then Haaland steps away from him, and Gabriel can't get back there, and Haaland buries it. So I think on both the goals there have been mistakes, but I've made the point all season that Gabriel, especially against Man City, I made the point even in the home game that Gabriel and Saliba should be allowed to make a mistake against Haaland, because he's that quick. I'm only calling it a mistake because of the level I expect from Gabriel.
Yeah.
Right? Haaland's grabbed him, he's pulled his shirt.
I have more smoke for Martinelli on the second
goal. for the press, whatever. Yeah, but like the issue is that, like you say, we don't have the quality that's going to rise, the cream that rises to the top at the other end of the pitch to bail that out. The only goal we have scored in this game is because Kai Havertz chose to press Donnarumma. Yeah, we haven't actually scored a goal outside of that from a nice passage of play or whatever, regardless, for all of the pieces of plays that we did have. But yeah, look, Arsenal lost the game. City are now 3 points behind. If they beat Burnley on Wednesday, they go top before Arsenal play Newcastle, which I think we all know how that game on the rest of the season
0-0 draw
is going to pan out. I think City will go on to win. I think City could probably win every game from here. As much as guys are saying that they don't believe that, they think Everton away and Bournemouth away. I think City have.
I don't think it matters too much. I don't think it matters whether they win every game, because I think they could draw.
Yeah,
both
we're
of those games.
Draw or lose at home.
They could draw Everton away, and they could draw Bournemouth away, and we won't have it.
Yeah, because we will have another fuck up at home.
Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle, Fulham are next two games.
Newcastle 0-0.
If it doesn't happen against Newcastle, it will happen against Fulham, and if it doesn't happen against Fulham, it will happen against Burnley.
And I think
in our last home
just
game.
a testament to why why I feel like it has to go City's way this year again, is because Arteta has spent so long sort of fine-tuning us as a fan base and as a club to be this sort of rigid defensive structure, that there's no way we can turn it on now and score goals. There's no way this Arsenal team can go and put two past every team that we play from now until the end of the season.
I mean, even if we win every game from now until the end of the season, we'll lose the title on goal difference.
Exactly.
We're not going to score enough.
Because we're not going to score enough. We're not going to outscore City when we've been geared up to be this 1-0
team. Yeah. So
grind out.
Yeah, look, and I think Man City, I think they've kind of clicked into gear.
It's fair dues to Pep, man.
I think Pep,
he's sunned us again, he's permanently.
He's going to leave with a domestic treble.
I see Arteta as just a guy that's been permanently sunned.
Yeah,
like I used to have him on a potential pedestal of where he could be. He's waking up a sleeping giant. All of the stuff that has been sort of the feel-good factor on Arsenal for the past couple of years. If Pep gets this domestic treble and cuts, it's just Arteta can go and win the Premier League and I'll still be very happy. Yeah, but he will. There's just and he was never going to be in the Pep bracket. Yeah, to begin with. But there's just I can't put him above the slots. I can't put him above the whoever some of these one-time winners are, the Ranieris, who
You want me to keep this in the pod, bro?
It's the crisis meeting. I'm treating this as a safe space.
Yeah, calm.
It's just like I'm really struggling to like where the levels are,
Yeah.
because we've been sunned so much in the last
We have,
four
and
years.
look, I think the business that Man City did in January will be the reason that they win the league. Signing Gay and Semenyo, that's how a proper club moves. That's how a club that's serious about winning major things will move. Because we definitely should have signed Semenyo in January.
I was gonna say, I think the reason that they're going to win the league is down to the business they've done in January, but I don't think the reason that we've lost the league is down to not doing business in Jan. And I do think that we should have signed Semenyo.
But if we'd signed someone in
and
Jan,
I do think that we should have signed Semenyo. I just don't think that. I still think this
like it's not going to hurt your chances.
It's not, and it's funny because it's kind of like a contradicting statement. Yeah, I've come to the conclusion, realization, the epiphany that the nonnies and some of these other guys that we've signed just don't cut the mustard. Yeah, like the nonny one starts to irk me a bit more every day, because when I see other wingers who are balling and I see that they went for roughly around 50 to 60 million, I just get annoyed. It just starts to look like lazy business.
Yeah.
Well, because Semenyo's he's in that bracket.
Agreed. Let's
and Buemo, all these guys.
Let's tee up that conversation. Because look, we've said our piece on the game. We've said our piece on what we think is going to happen for the rest of the season. One thing I will say is shout out Martin Odegaard. Yeah.
No, I thought he played well,
because I think he played very well. And I said before the game on the chat,
I'm not there to shout him out just yet.
Yeah, but look, I've killed him a lot. Yeah. So at the same time, when he plays well, I'm going to come and, like I said on the chat, that I need to see Odegaard needs to step up today. I'm not asking him to score a goal because I know he's not capable of that. I'm probably not asking him to get an assist or do anything, but I need to see that our technical level, and this is where I was having a conversation about the superior levels. I think Martin Odegaard being on the pitch alone, I know Eze didn't play the cup final, and obviously he was, but I think Martin Odegaard being there alone was a massive difference between the cup final and this game. Being able to get on the ball, have someone who's just calm with it, can take a couple touches, and I think he did what he needed to do yesterday. I mean, the 1-on-1 that Havertz misses,
it's a good play.
But I'm like, I know what Odegaard's done there. Yeah,
you should shoot.
I know what you've done there. Well, if I pass this to him and he misses,
I was
rather than if I take it on myself.
I was just about to say, and obviously we're teeing up several conversations, but like before I lose this train of thought, the Havertz Odegaard combination for me is almost as big an issue as like the Rice and Zubimendi combination. Yeah, because I'm just deeping now as I'm taking steps back. And I'm starting to, I've accepted that this is another trophyless season. And I'm starting to unravel, like, well, how have we got here? Where do we go wrong? And it's not necessarily on Havertz and Odegaard because they've been out for a lot of the time.
Yeah, that was the first game they played together.
So it's not necessarily on them too. But it's because we know that Havertz isn't a killer. Yeah, isn't the one chance, one goal kind of guy. He's the everything else kind of guy. He, as you say, 9 out of 10 performance in terms of everything else, hold up play, bringing guys in, all this kind of stuff. And that's fine. And I can accept that from Havertz. And I can still think he's a valuable member to the squad, giving us that. But if we know that that's who he is and that's our starting striker, our number 10 has to be goal orientated in that case.
Yeah.
Has to be a shooter, has to left foot, right foot, has to look for the half space, all this kind of stuff. Because then you just have two players that
are blunt in front of goal. No killer instinct.
And take up the 9 and 10 position.
I mean, compare that to
the football team.
Bruno and Cunha. Have you seen Cunha's goal at Stamford Bridge? Like, compare. And look, and I agree with everything you've said, and I will still sit here and say Havertz and Odegaard's probably our best front two pairing. and that's the problem.
And that's my problem. That's my issue is
right, because that's probably the best we have to offer. But Yeah,
And it's
look,
not just that though. It's that we've known that about Havertz
Yep.
for 2 seasons
Yep.
now. We've known this about Odegaard for 2 seasons now.
well, this is where we get into the point. Really, I just wanted to do that. Give Odegaard his praise. He's proved to me that as long as Pep's in this league, there's a place for him at this football club. So calm. But we said all along that if we don't win anything this year, it's uncomfortable conversations. For a lot of people, it was if we don't win anything this year, Arteta has to go. And that's fine. For us, we were saying it's uncomfortable conversations. We said that on the pod. And look, it's crisis meeting time. It's time to have those uncomfortable conversations. Now, just giving an overview of Mikel Arteta, and I think from what you've already said, I think we both are going to agree with this. But of his time at Arsenal, from the moment we started competing for the league, we went for the league that first season, lost out to Man City, and it was like, okay, we need like a real dominant centre midfield player to go and win the league.
We also said that we needed depth. We didn't starting lineup.
Agreed.
That's all we had.
So because it was like Eddie and
yeah.
So the window after that, we've signed Rice, Havertz, Timber, and Raya. Yeah. Now there's no. I mean, we've just had a lengthy conversation on Havertz. That there's no elite attacking quality player there. Yeah, in terms of goals, assists, whatever. But it's fine because the marquee signing's Declan Rice, and you have to sign Declan Rice because he's
and we're still building in stages. It's
Agreed.
Still project.
Agreed. He's invaluable to the project, and he proves that because we go and get 89 points, 2 points off City. Now at that point, this is where, like, if you ask me at the end of it all, where things went wrong for Arteta,
this summer,
and you saying we've known for 2 years about Havertz and Odegaard takes it back to 2024, right, which is the 2-year time frame. 2 years, so 2 years ago, yeah, that's 4 transfer windows. Yeah, we lost the league to City by 2 points, and we all knew that Arsenal were one elite attacking player away from winning the league, or 2
very good ones,
very good. So, or 2 starting 11 players, a starting 11
good
striker
to great,
and a starting 11 left winger.
Yeah,
either one elite player or 2. We all knew that. Then the next summer transfer window comes, complete fuck up from Edu. We've spoken about
Calafiori.
that a lot. But they did bring in Marino, who was a goal scorer, whatever. But yeah, fuck up. We made a profit, in that window. Obviously, nothing in January. January windows don't exist for Arsenal. So you come to this summer. Now, this is where the conversation needs to be had. We spoke about this a bit off there. After the transfer window, we both sat here, and the pods are there if you go back and watch, and we said that it's a great transfer window for Arsenal. We said that it was the best transfer window probably in Arsenal history. Now, the funny thing is that when I look at that, I still think that a case can be made for that to be true.
Because
and it was funny, we had the conversation on the pod, and I said a couple of weeks ago that my dad said that Hincapié has been our best summer signing, and he asked me again yesterday, I think, just to prove the point, and I was like, yeah, that ran now. I'm gonna say Hincapié. Zubimendi's had a bad, but I think across the whole season, or up until this bad patch from Zubimendi, I think he's been unbelievable. I think he's been very good. But yeah, Hincapié, Hincapié, Zubimendi, Eze,
Noni.
No.
Oh
yeah.
Are you saying
good? Mosquera.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were just naming the summer signings.
I think those 4, Hincapié, Zubimendi, Eze, and Mosquera alone could make. I mean, obviously, we both rate Norgard, but obviously, don't know what's
someone
going on
doesn't.
There. But signing those 4 players, it's right there with the Rice, Havertz, Timber, Raya window. Yeah. However, the other players that I've not mentioned there, the likes of Gyökeres and Noni, have caused a lot of issues now, because not only did we fuck up the first time round not signing an elite player, but our forward signing was Sterling.
Yeah.
We've then gone the second time round, and the forward players we've signed are Eze, Noni, and Gyökeres. And Eze, I don't have anything to say about, because I think Eze, the reason I make that point is because I feel like Eze's done what he needs to do Man City game. It's just that, to me, that bit just comes down to luck at the end. right? I need you to produce a moment of quality. You've produced a moment of quality. You've kissed the post. It's rolled back across the goal. I can't really ask much more.
He should have.
Yeah?
He should have obviously seen out the game as well. You've been given the
Yeah.
opportunity
Arteta
to.
fucked that up. He shouldn't have taken because that
That's all
alone
we
should
had.
prove to
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
that this is
That
how
could have been
we're
our
gonna
last shot.
score. Yeah. So Eze, fine. I'm happy with that. Noni and Gyökeres, like we've just said, we needed to sign an elite player or two very good players. Now, it's nothing really against Noni or Gyökeres because I think Noni and Gyökeres both individually are good players.
Yeah.
And if Everton spent 50 million on Noni, or if Brighton spent 50 million, or if Brentford or Villa or Newcastle, on Noni or Gyökeres spent 60 on Gyökeres and 50 on, if any of those clubs did it, I'd sit here very honestly and say good business.
Yeah.
Yeah. You signed a good player that can play every week. It's
Yeah.
at a level, at a standard. Gyökeres for any of those teams could probably bag 10 to 15 goals, which is what they're all looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. The issue is that they're good players. They're not players good enough to win the league. And Arsenal have known that for 2 years, like you say, Havertz and Odegaard. We've known that for 2 years, and we haven't got it right. So at this point, that has to be on Mikel Arteta.
And like for me, like just starting with Noni, particularly Noni, he just seems like the same player he was at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Like there doesn't seem to be much of a difference in terms of his production or output or sort of performance
and that's the
level.
other thing. There's no evidence of Noni's Premier League career that he's better than this.
So that's why it's on Arteta, because you gave us the big spiel. You gave us the big speech. You said how he was a nightmare to play against. You said how you saw his attributes. You said how this and that, and we all got into our bags about how Arteta improves wingers and how Arteta's going to improve players. And with this summer being as critical as it was, and the demands from the team like needing very good wingers / attackers being what it was, to get the Noni one wrong and to outlay £50 million and to give him a 5-year deal, and there be no proof that he was going to be more than what he was at Chelsea. It's down to you, Arteta, to show us this is why I've put the money aside.
Yep.
And Saka's been out. Like realistically, we would have all preferred Noni to have a lot less minutes, this season. Yeah. So it's not a minutes thing. It's not a number of games thing. It's not one of these things where it's like, oh, we need to see more of him partnered up with X, Y, and Z. Like Noni's, he played the role. He got the minutes that he was meant to get.
Yeah.
Saka's been out. He's played with our best teams. He's played with our sort of second-hand, third-rate teams.
Yeah. And he's not been good
enough. And he's never really stood out in any single one of those things. And can I blame Noni too much? Yes, there has to be blame on Noni for not taking the next step as a 24-year-old, 23-year-old, 24-year-old, coming to a big club. You know our ambitions, the move from Chelsea, the initial hate, all this kind of stuff, yeah. But as you're saying, there's never been proof of Noni being anything more than what he already has shown us right now. Good, inconsistent, here and there, and it just really, and as I say, like, it infuriates me when I see other wingers in Champions League, Premier League do things, and I'm like, oh yeah, but he went for 50 million as well. He went for 45, he went for 60. Like, it just feels so lazy, the Noni transfer, because was there no one with these concerns in the scouting department when we signed him? Was there anybody else for 55 million who was like a potential? Maybe they cost 55 million to Noni's 50 and we had to pay them 80k a week, but for that 20-30k difference, we were going to get a guy that would get at least 5 Premier League goals, man.
Look, I mean, forget about all the money and the price tag and the wages, and you said that categorically, without a shadow of a doubt, Ethan would have more goals.
Yeah, and that's another thing as well.
So forget about the spending the money on and
did we need to do it?
Obviously, we didn't know at the time, but Arteta probably knew that Dalman was on the trajectory that he's on. Yeah. Now, look, cool. Can a Premier League winning team have Saka, Ethan, and Max Dalman as their options? I think they can. Yeah, but people might argue that. because I think the whole point of Ethan playing so much last year, and I said this in the summer, was that him and Miles
Would
were
be ready.
ready.
Yeah.
Like we don't need to do the loan thing. Like Ethan's almost taken a step backwards. He's played for Arsenal at the highest level. He scored goals in the Champions League. He scored goals against Man City. He's done all of that to now go on loan.
He scored goals in Noni's position, and so we've just spent 50 million to ship off a better player on a little loan thing that is like neither here nor there. And look, as I say,
And I know it was Arteta that made Ethan an interior player.
and that's and yet look, as yet another decision that comes back to haunt Arteta is it's the same thing with Havertz and saying that he's a midfielder. Yeah, like sometimes no one asks us these questions, and we make such a big fuss to tell people this is like Ethan's a 10 now.
Yeah.
All of preseason, Ethan's a 10.
Someone fed that to Ornstein. Ornstein's not pulled that out of thin air. Someone's fed that to him.
Ethan's a 10. Ethan's a 10. So then you go and you get Eze, and then it starts to become like a what's going on type vibe. And look, I agree with you because Ethan would have had a better season categorically, in my opinion, than Noni if he was just a right winger. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's ironic that Saka's been out and Dalman, the 16-year-old, is like the second best option to play right wing because Martinelli was awful there yesterday. And we're in this situation where, and this is why I say Arteta's been permanently sunned. Like we're in this situation where
I'd still pick Noni over Dalman.
I would still pick Noni over Dalman, but that's only because I don't.
Why are we even having this conversation?
Well, just quickly to finish the thought, it's just because I like.
No, but as in that we shouldn't be in a position where we should have signed someone.
Yeah, I'm only picking Noni because he's 24 and Dalman's 16, and I think Noni can run for 90 minutes.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm just looking at the game at the Etihad, and I was like, pick Noni.
Yeah, no,
yeah, because he's more
as you should. But I was gonna say the reason I think Arteta's permanently been sunned. The reason you've just said you think Dalman, Saka, and Ethan can have some part to play in the title race. Yeah, and I would agree with you because I feel like we've lost this title race because we just haven't had enough technical footballers when we've needed them the most. Yeah. And we did very well up until 3 weeks ago, to get to that point that we got to. Yeah, but the reason Man City look different to us now, the reason they've grown in strength in these past couple of weeks and we've shrunk, is because their technical footballers have come to the forefront. Their Bernardo Silvas, their Cherkis, their Dokus, their Rodris. Yeah. And their wave on wave on wave of attack, they're really putting teams under the pressure. We saw what they were doing to Chelsea, all this kind of stuff, yeah? Let alone us in the Carabao Cup, O'Reilly, all these kind of guys. And we have no clue who's going to keep the ball for us. And that even if it was just Saka, Ethan, Dalman, I'll trust the three of them to have way more possession or attacking sort of security than I would
Noni,
Gyökeres, Martinelli front three that we know doesn't work.
Yeah.
That we know doesn't work because we've seen it before. We said it before the Bournemouth game. How this does this? I can't believe this front three is starting again. It doesn't work. Yeah. So I think Arteta's been permanently sunned, and I made this point to you as well. And I'll just say it for the pod. Like Pep did the whole thing of 4 centre backs and a Kanji and this and that, and it was like physical monsters. We lost the league to that team because we just weren't physical enough, and we were soft, and they went long. And Haaland was dealing with long balls that our defenders couldn't because it was Zinchenko and all these other guys. Yeah. And then Pep's just gone back to super technical ballers after Arteta has super OD'd, gone the other way.
But
every signing Arteta's made is 6 foot plus and a monster.
Again, this is why, like, and it's not cutting Arteta slack because this is also his fault. Yeah, but the 22-23 game at the Etihad was a bit similar to the game yesterday in the sense of Arsenal went long and City didn't have the players that could deal with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Havertz was getting his game off on Kusanov and Gahey. The issue is the difference between Havertz and Haaland. Right? Because if Havertz was I don't know, it's difficult to say because Julian Alvarez might not do everything else that Havertz does. Yeah. But if he was someone else that you were going long to, and then he was holding it up, and he takes his chances, then
I agree with that. But I would just say that I think what.
But yeah, he's been a step behind, kind of thing.
Yeah, what cost us is it's not just that Havertz misses chances because we know Havertz misses chances. I just feel as if they're the few and far between. If we had some sort of team that could, the same way City do to us, replicate. Well, we was all right, but replicate some sort of consistent form of attack. The Arsenal teams that we used to watch, obviously under Arsene Wenger and even early Arteta, like you'd really have a team penned in. Yeah, we'd really have a team like everybody's at the 6-yard box. We're all complaining about how deep this block is, all this kind of stuff, and
we don't really see that.
Because we don't really have that anymore.
The last time I think I saw that was Sunderland away in that second half.
Just good football.
Yeah.
So, look, I think the technical level of our team has really slacked off. That's down to Arteta. The signings that he's made haven't worked in terms of like being good enough squad depth for the entirety of the season. We've had a ton of games of Noni. We've had a ton of games of Gyökeres. They both haven't, as you said, individually not been awful, but just done what the team needs them to do.
Yeah.
Showing up in the big games that the team needs them to show up in. Eze, I thought it was interesting seeing Eze play left wing again. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
And like I enjoyed Eze coming in on the inside, but
maybe if you'd done that for 10 games between December
that's what I'm like.
Yeah. Like, but look, just to finish on this point, we've spoken about Noni. So let's talk about Gyökeres because I think they're both in the same boat, but I think the Gyökeres one is more of a bigger issue because no matter what, Noni's a backup. Arsenal, obviously when there's injuries he comes into the team, but his role is a backup. Now we've had the conversation there. The backup should be better. Even Ethan would have been better, but it's a backup. Whatever, we could get away with Noni being part of the squad that wins the league, as a backup right winger,
Savinho.
Precisely. Fucking Marmouche. All of those scrubs. We could get away with that. But Gyökeres was signed to be Arsenal's striker, to very evidently and clearly be Arsenal's number one striker when we go for the Titanic title tussle at the Etihad to win the league. The number one striker, the starting striker is Victor Gyökeres because that's what we've paid the money for in the summer to bring in the bags, man. Now, I said before, Gyökeres has done all right. He's our top scorer, so we can't kill him too much. That was my whole defense of Havertz last year. Everyone wanted to kill Havertz, and I was like, how can we kill Havertz when he's the top goal scorer? There's so many other people to talk about. So it's not so much to kill Gyökeres, but Gyökeres, unfortunately, for as good as he is, he's not good enough to win the league. And that's the key area that we're in. And the difference between Gyökeres and Noni is Gyökeres isn't here to be a backup.
Yeah, I don't know.
Gyökeres is here.
They gave him backup minutes though, 10 minutes.
Agreed. In yesterday's game, they did give him backup minutes, but again, that's a fuck up from Mikel Arteta and Andrea Berta.
And do you know why I think it's a fuck up is because Arteta's obviously like floundering, man. He's like obviously searching for ideas. Havertz is the number one striker. Calm, we get that, we know that, But Arteta's just played the last 3 games with Havertz and Gyökeres playing together. We've lost every single one of those games.
Yeah.
So Arteta can't even go back to, because there was I hear why Arteta doesn't want to take Havertz off, despite him missing chances. He was affecting the game, adding positive stuff to our attack, and as you say, Gyökeres is a striker. He can only play in one position.
I wouldn't have wanted to see Havertz come off for Gyökeres yesterday. I wouldn't have wanted to see that.
I wouldn't have wanted to see that either. Yeah, but I think the hesitancy or wherever Arteta's mind is at is he's thinking he's tried Havertz and Gyökeres as this sort of dual partnership. And I think, look, it comes again back to the summer and just the sort of hilariousness of Arsenal and Arteta and Berto's squad building where Havertz can be so good at the stuff that Gyökeres isn't.
Yeah.
And Gyökeres can be so good at the stuff that Havertz isn't. But somehow we can't play them together.
When they play together, they're both as bad at everything.
They're both awful.
Yeah,
it both doesn't make sense. Havertz will spend a lot of the time injured, and then Gyökeres was also out for some time, and then it's like
because that's the other issue.
How are we even in this comedy circus of a situation where we have one player who we know his qualities and we've known them for 2 years, so we sign the opposite guy. We sign literally his exact opposite player.
Yeah.
and it still doesn't work out for us because he actually isn't enough of a goal
he
scorer.
doesn't actually do what this guy does. But we wanted what this guy doesn't do. But and yesterday's game was clear as day for that, yeah. Because I'm hearing some Arsenal fans say, "Oh, if that was Gyökeres in Havertz's position for those chances, he would have scored." Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, but and we spoke about this a bit off air.
He doesn't get to this.
Why is Gyökeres not in those positions?
He doesn't get to those chances.
Why has he not been in those positions all season? We said that Havertz got put through 1-on-1 in the cup final. Gyökeres also started that game but didn't get a chance. Havertz got put through 1-on-1 away in Sporting. Yeah. Gyökeres started that game, didn't get a chance. Havertz gets put through 1-on-1 here at the Etihad. Like, there's a reason the Havertz is getting put through and Havertz is finding these chances and Gyökeres isn't. It's not a case of, if Gyökeres was on the pitch, he'd have those chances.
Yeah.
Even the run that Havertz makes for that Odegaard pass,
Gyökeres isn't.
It's just Havertz has bailed Odegaard out there.
It's bad, man. Our squad building, our preparation for all of this stuff coming into the season. I thought we were in a good spot, and we were. To be fair, we really were until 3 weeks ago. Well, sorry, until 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I think Arteta, man, he really is running out of places to hide and to run and excuses to run.
Well, perfect segue. I think this is probably the last thing we need to discuss. The most uncomfortable conversation. You're saying there's nowhere to hide.
There isn't.
Mikel Arteta, if things go how they look like they're gonna go, obviously we are in the Champions League semi-finals, so props to the team, props to Mikel Arteta for doing that. We play Atletico Madrid, but assuming I can't see, honestly, even if we get to the final, I just think PSG, Bayern is
two better teams.
So
Neuer
having one of Sapunov. What was Sapunov on the Anfield? but assuming we end this season with nothing, because as the weeks go on, that looks more and more likely.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm accepting that reality.
Yeah.
Already.
Mikel Arteta.
I think he has to go for several reasons, but the forefront reason, and is very selfish, is for me to believe.
Yeah.
Just for me to go into next season with any sort of hype or
this is going to be different.
Enjoyment, or I'm looking forward to this, or anything of the sort, I would need to see a new manager at the helm. Because what that means, it's like a domino effect, man. It's like, well, maybe Odegaard doesn't have to go, or maybe Gyökeres, this can be a better year for him. Maybe, X, Y, and Z can happen. Maybe, all of this other stuff. Norgard, maybe he gets minutes. All of this other stuff gets brought into question. Literally, almost Arteta's a dictator. Because if he does stay, then everything that we've just spoken about, I don't really see much progression for Noni. I don't really see much progression for Gyökeres. I don't really see much progression for Havertz. Odegaard is going to stay the same. Like the Zubamendi, Rice.
I mean, Havertz, to be fair,
Havertz he'll stay the same in terms of he'll be a good player. He'll get to
like the progression point with Havertz. This is Havertz.
Yeah. But it's the same with all. I just don't see a heater season from Odegaard, or I think Saka can come back and have a heater year. Yeah, but we've seen heater years from Saka under Arteta.
Yeah,
I just don't see how, if Arteta stays, some of these key focal points in the team, how much I expect to go out in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup again
probably to some lower league team.
Yeah, at the quarter-final, semi-final stage. So for me to be able to believe and to see, and I also want to say on the Arteta thing is he hasn't regressed this year. He hasn't gone backwards. He hasn't. He just hasn't gone forwards. He hasn't actually taken a step forward. It is impressive to make back-to-back semi-finals of the Champions League, and as cringy as this is, it is somewhat impressive to be second 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
But that's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is that we're second 4 times in a row. The problem is that we're going to get to back semi-finals or even a Champions League final or whatever it will be.
Yeah.
And this will be our 6th or 5th season of not winning a single trophy, not one. However good we think Rice and Timber and
Yeah,
Saka
yeah, yeah.
and Saliba, Gabriel,
But what if it's
all of these guys.
What if it's a LeBronto thing, and if Pep leaves, then LeBron's gone to the West, and the Raptors can now go.
I hear it and I would love it, but that's my issue with the slot trophy, the Prem.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
like I just don't like. Oh, man, these last 2 seasons, it's really as dark as it's ever gonna get because I really, really, really all the previous 2 seasons before that, 3 seasons before that, I could have Pep, man, that team flying. Yo, that team is serious stuff.
treble.
We're not on that level.
Yeah,
We're nowhere near that. Yeah, but for these past 2
Or we
years,
weren't near that, but just not.
yeah,
Yeah,
but for these past 2 years, like that Liverpool team was a really good team, but I don't think it was a special team. We just weren't. We just didn't have the injuries. Whatever, we didn't have it.
Yeah.
Cool, calm. Yeah, but this season to lead for 7 months the way we have to then fall apart at the end, the way we're gonna fall apart. I think next season Liverpool with slot, without slot, Man United, Maresca at City, like whoever it's gonna be. I think because my estimations, unfortunately, of Arteta just shrink year on year on year. Like, I've backed him. I love the guy. Trust me, I've wanted him to prove all the doubters, all the haters wrong, more than most people. But the pattern is just staring me dead in the face. Like the pattern of play is just staring me dead in the face, and it's I think we'll draw at Newcastle, so I think it'll be yet another April where we just don't get a Premier League win.
honestly, drawing a Newcastle would be
like,
disgusting.
I just think it's gonna be like yet another month where, well, I say yet another month. Sorry, like yet another, title deciding month where we pick up 0 to 1 point, and we start asking ourselves, but where do we go wrong and all the like we go wrong because
I mean, but also like the Arteta's proving people right and everything, but we have also kind of had the feeling like we knew that there was that stat going around the whole time before the Carabao Cup final. We've only lost 3 games in all competitions this year, but we knew even then that it could be very Arsenal for us to lose 3 in a row. Coming back, like it wasn't out of the question. Like, oh, this team is so good that that's not going to happen. It's like this is an unbelievable achievement, but there is still that sort of like, this could happen because it's Arsenal, because it's Arteta, because of these players. So, and look, now we've lost. What is it, 4 or something? The cup final, Southampton, Bournemouth, and City.
Yeah,
domestically.
Yeah.
That's just having lost 3 from
all
August
season.
to March. You now lose 4. Look so ultimately for you, it's just got to change.
It's got to change because, and I said it to you, I just don't see, unless we win the Champions League this year, which I don't think will happen. Going into next season, we've already come third 4 times in a row.
Yeah,
second 4 times in a row. So, we're not drawing off anything different. We're not drawing off, but at least we got the FA Cup over the line. So there's this mentality that's been instilled. Or do you remember that Carabao Cup topsy-turvy final that we had that we came out on top of? We don't have any of that.
Yeah.
So like, how can I tell myself that things are going to be different when,
evidence is just,
and everyone, I'm like, guys are trying to be kind and nice to us and saying that Arsenal have to dig deep here and take deep breaths and it was never going to be easy and you need to draw on the experience. Oh, we just don't have the experience. A week ago, I was saying that the FA Cup and Carabao Cup didn't matter to me because we have to go for the big ones. And yet again, it's like the Arteta psyop. Yeah. But now I actually feel like those are the 2 biggest trophies missed out on because it's yet again like Saliba and Gabriel, and they can't even draw off a Carabao Cup win, an FA Cup win.
100%.
Going into next season, they can't
100%.
even tell themselves going into next season, well, it will be different because we beat City in that game or we beat whoever in that game to win that trophy, to lift it, to have this day where it was a good day. So I just can't see how we'll start next season very well. We'll be top of the Champions League table.
Yeah,
We'll be top of the Premier League. We'll be top of the Premier League. We'll be top of the Premier League table.
Yeah.
Things will look good. We'll sign some players. Those players
Yeah.
they'll look decent, or we'll be sort of making up excuses as to why it's going to get better in the second 6 months of the season. And then April will come around and we'll not ask ourselves, because we'll be done asking ourselves, but we're here again.
Yeah.
We're here with 5 losses out of 6. You know,
Yeah,
two draws, 4 losses,
Yeah. Oh,
1
we've only
win.
lost 3 games all season.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
that's for me the reason why it has to change. Maybe on a selfish thing, is just because I will struggle.
Yeah, look, I
to
think
believe.
just to give my point on this, I agree with you. I think all Arsenal fans will find it really impossible to get excited for next season. Yeah. If Mikel Arteta is the manager, I think that's a very valid point, because how the hell are we doing this again? Like, we were at Nando's with Nick, and you guys were making me laugh when Nick was like, "Why couldn't we just bottle it in December?
Yeah, man.
And be out of it in December? Why are we going?" And look, it'll be the same thing next year, but because we're fans of the football club and all of that, we will get invested and we will get involved, and then it will all end the same way. So I understand that. My thing on this is I'm finding it difficult, yeah, because there's a massive catch-22 here, yeah. I think Mikel Arteta, yeah, and again, this is going to sound cringe, this is going to sound Arsenal fan delusion, whatever. I think in the performance at the Etihad yesterday, I think Mikel Arteta actually showed me that he's good enough to win the Premier League. Yeah, which is mad because we lost the game. Yeah, gonna sound cringy, all of that. But after the Bournemouth game, I was thinking, damn, maybe he just really hasn't got the minerals. But then we went and played at Man City, and I was like, okay, cool. Pep got the better of you. That can be allowed to happen. Take away all the context of the game and everything. Obviously, losing is pointless because I mean it doesn't make any difference. But you can go there and you can compete. Like you said, I kind of thought it was going to be a slapping.
Yeah.
Especially when Turkey gets the first goal. I think, well, we're going to regress back to 22-23 when we get 4 5s, all of that. So, but no, we played well. We had our chances, all of that. Now, we've said for 2 years, right, that Mikel Arteta and Edu and Mikel Arteta and Berta and have fucked up because we needed one or two top attacking players to win the league. Yeah. Now, I still believe that if you give Mikel Arteta those 1 or 2 attacking players, he will win the league. Yeah. I do believe that. But the catch-22 is that I have to rely on Mikel Arteta to sign.
Yeah, I'm less
those top players. And Mikel Arteta's track history of signing those players, Noni and Gyökeres and Jesus and all of that. So it's like, well, if you took that completely away from Mikel Arteta and you had someone behind the scenes, yeah, who just gave him the players that were the top players, a bit like Klopp had. I know Klopp was beefing his sporting directors at Liverpool constantly. But they gave him and they plugged in with Salah and Mane and whatever. If someone took that away from Arteta and plugged in with, like you say, the amount of right wingers that were out there that could have been quality this year, even a different, and it's not so much like I don't think Ekitike would have won Arsenal the league because I don't think I think he's in the same bracket as Gyökeres. I think he's good and not good enough to win the league, right? Like obviously Waltermada, bro, he's going to be back in Germany soon. Yeah, all the gas on Waltermada earlier on the season. Sesko is the same thing, all of that. So and that's the catch-22. I don't trust Arteta. We can't trust Arteta to get those signings right.
No, we can't.
Right? But then it's annoying because I do believe he is a good enough manager to it. Like we say, we've always said when Arteta leaves Arsenal, he'll probably go and win everything.
Yeah.
Like we know what Arteta.
I still believe that. I still believe that he'll go and win a lot when he leaves Arsenal. But
we know that his next job's probably Barca.
Yeah.
And we know that when he goes to Barca and he makes a couple signings, he won't need to make any attacking signings, which will be a massive thing for him. He'll just shore up the defense, which we know he can do, right? And he might even win a Champions League with Barca.
But I agree with that. But every season, for me, the gloss on Arteta just diminishes more and more. Like I agree. Like I used to hold him in that high sort of esteem, and I still think he'll go on to other jobs and win stuff, but I'm also just seeing the pattern now of Arteta fucking himself. Like this league, it should have been wrapped up with the players that you had, whether you signed them, whether they were given to you,
Agreed.
whatever the
Agreed.
situation was. This is the one where it just needed stability, and you would have done it. Yeah, you just needed not to lose back to back games at any point in the season, and you probably would have got over the line. But so I I agree with that in essence. I agree with all of this in essence in terms of Arteta has proven that he can win the league because yet again, I'm sure if you add up all the points
Yeah, yeah,
over
yeah.
the last 4 years,
Most goals in the history. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Arsenal will come out on
yeah.
top. As I said, he's not regressed as a manager, but every year he does show us that he will find a way to not get
To
over the
bottle it,
line.
yeah.
Like he will fight, regardless of whether he.
But that's where I'm thinking if he had the right, and this isn't a defense of him. Yeah, I want to make that clear because these are all Arteta's players. Yeah,
Mm,
this is Arteta's squad.
mm,
So anything I say about the players not taking their chances or Noni not being good enough or whatever is also on Arteta because Arteta has signed those players. So it's not a defense of him, right? But if you took those decisions away from him and you gave him the quality forward players like a Julian Alvarez, like a I don't know, maybe a Barcolo, whoever it might be out there, I think they'd almost take that out of his hands.
yeah,
I think a moment of magic in the Bournemouth game brings us back into the game, and then there's a bit of feeling or whatever. Like you said, even a draw in that game would. I think the big issue for Arsenal, we've said this all season, yeah, is that we just don't. The defense have no respite.
yeah.
There's no one just. Oh, he's put that in the top corner so we can
But
relax for a bit.
I think that is what separates good managers.
The
Like
recruitment,
it's not just the recruitment; it's the being able to work with what you've got. And
but I think Arteta's done that.
I think he has done that, and that's why he's a good manager. But he's not a get over the line manager because,
Like we're just talking about how poor Noni and Gyökeres are,
yeah,
and that they're probably giving their
I think
best.
other managers would have, despite Nani and Gyökeres being poor, been able to get over the line with them. Like this, for me, this season, this title loss isn't down. We don't have a great squad. Man City have a better squad than us in terms of definitely their attacking talent. Yeah, and that comes down to Semenyo coming in Jan. That comes down to a lot of these things.
Do you think
Yeah,
there's any other manager in the Premier League that would have got this over the line?
yeah. That's this one. I think, unfortunately, I think this is one of the ones that they would have got over the line because
Who
I think and it's none of these guys, and this is why I say my thing with Arteta now is he's just diminishing in my eyes,
yeah,
like
yeah,
his pedigree, because I'm starting to put like these guys of like the Iriolas and these kind of guys that have no pedigree of winning anywhere.
yeah,
They have no
yeah.
pedigree of winning anywhere. Yeah,
But you think Iriola would have?
but and I'm just saying, would Iriola not get in his own way? Like, when he's 9 points clear, would he just play a team that? Because my issues with Arteta are like, how many times now? How many
Yeah.
times now am I going to hear Arteta say we weren't at the level today? Like, how many times as a manager are you going to put a team out that wasn't at the level? Like,
I mean, even yesterday after the City game, he comes out and he says the game was defined in both boxes.
I've heard that. I've heard that,
So
bro.
why has that not been fixed?
So my thing now is it's not necessarily about how good the manager is Arteta versus the rest of these guys, because I know Arteta can beat any of these
All
guys,
of them,
all of
yeah,
these
yeah.
guys, yeah. But it just comes down to those months of March, April, May. Will Iriola get in his own? Iriola has nothing to play for, yeah. But will he get in his own way?
But that's why he's probably doing all right in
But
it.
and look, we'll never know because it's a lot of ifs, ands, or
Yeah, yeah,
buts, yeah.
yeah.
But it's just
Like when all of that pressure starts to and a
will he
massive football
will he
club
start
Arsenal.
to
It's not
make
Bournemouth
will he start
anymore.
to make awful decisions? Because like yo, Arteta's subs. This is an underlying thing that like
throw everything
between
in,
March to May, if you are going to be the biggest sort of blocker, because and I have issues with Nani, I have issues with Gyökeres, I have issues with all these other guys that we've brought. Calafiori can't stay fit, all of this kind of stuff. Yeah, Odegaard is in and out, all this kind of stuff. But I just feel every decision that he's made, as I said to you, unfortunately, it hasn't actually led to this like final moment.
Yeah, what was almost promised.
It hasn't actually led to that.
Like the journey hasn't finished where Arteta told us.
Or for me, another thing I'll say is if Arteta is gonna stay, which look, I think it's more than likely that Arteta will stay, just because club are quite happy with where things are at right now. We need to shed so much of this core that he believes in, so much so that I have like sort of very few players that I feel emotionally invested in. You know,
Well,
keep Saka, keep Rice. I'd keep one of Gabriel and like I don't want all of these guys to go. I'm not saying that all of these guys need to get out of here. But for sure, I think this core of players that Arteta is so like determined to defend, because he keeps on saying how he knows these players, how he's seen these players, like this core of the Martinellis and the Ben Whites and the, you know, whoever it is that's Jesus and these guys that have been here. Like, but we have to get rid of all. Like, I need to see sort of 6 to 7 to 8 outgoing player changes. I'm not talking about Skellies and Ethans. I'm talking about these guys that Arteta is like been saying are the backbone of this squad for the last couple of years. They've got to go because they've missed their window. Will be it them themselves as players messing up, or Arteta not platforming them enough to get over the line. But I'm done with sort of Martinelli's time and Ben White's time and Jesus's time. And I just don't think that I can run it back with those guys and expect anything else.
Yeah, I mean, that's the catch-22 I was talking about, because if Arteta is the manager, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I'm saying that, like, Arteta will probably stay because of the club and everything. Like, my thing with Arteta is, I said at the end of the season, if it is that we've won nothing, a lot of it's going to be down to the context of how things have happened, my opinion on Arteta. And you mentioned about the Carabao and the FA Cup being two of the most important. The way Arteta threw away those two trophies is it still like angers every fiber of my being. Yeah. The fact that he could throw away the Carabao knowing how important that is by starting Kepa. And then after the Carabao fuck up, you can go to Southampton and fuck it up again in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Two trophies that you've said, because even if you come out, I said at the start of the season, even moving on throughout the season after the Palace penalty shootout in the Carabao, I said, if we win the Carabao, I will run that for another year. Yeah. That's all Arteta had to give me, really. Right. And loads of Arsenal fans had Premier Champs, otherwise he's sacked, and that's a fair stance to take. But for me, I was like, I'll take the Carabao. And I'll say, but when Ten Hag won it, it was big and all of this. And like you say, the importance of those, even if we'd won the Carabao and the FA Cup, coming into this season, like you say, Gabriel and Saliba have that to draw on. You've won two